At some point, what you were worth and what you were paid stopped being the same conversation. And you didn't notice it when it happened, but you noticed the gap years later, when the arithmetic didn't add up and the years hadn't added up to what they were supposed to. 20,000, 50,000, already gone. You won't get it back. And it's not one big mistake. It's a small one, repeated. I've been inside these decisions for 20 years. I know how they get made and what they cost. The correct decision and the right decision aren't always the same thing, and people find that out too late. Mid-career, 15 years in, on track for senior leadership, 7 figures, already gone. Not in one decision, but in a pattern that took 15 years to build and looked completely reasonable at every stage. Every time there was a choice, he took the one with less risk attached, because each one protected something he already had. All of them pointed the same direction. He'd made 15 years of decisions that looked correct. So why wasn't the number moving? 5 years later, he was earning almost exactly what he'd been earning when he'd made those choices. 5 years, no movement. Being good at the work and pricing it correctly are different skills, and most people only develop one. Independent contractor, in demand, work coming in consistently. He priced below market because below felt safer. Less friction, more certainty of winning the work. The problem is, he never reset the baseline because raising it meant risking something that was already working. £200 a day below market rate. 200 days a year, that's £40,000 in a single year. Over 5 years, £200,000. Not lost in a bad investment, not mismanaged, not stolen, simply not charged, given away in the form of a more comfortable sales conversation. Comfort has a price. You paid it. 5 years of below market pricing had become his market price. And when he finally raised his rate, he lost 3 clients, not because the work wasn't worth the number, because he'd spent 5 years teaching them that he wasn't. And that's still not where it gets expensive. This is where it scales. Early traction doesn't tell you what the work is worth. It tells you what someone was willing to pay when you were unknown. First clients, fast uptake, faster than expected. He assumed the price was right because the demand was there. It wasn't demand, it was underpricing. More clients came, more work followed. He got busier, he didn't get richer. The margin stayed where it started because the price stayed where it started, set in a moment of uncertainty. Revisiting it felt like ingratitude toward the clients who'd taken the risk on him early. The business grew, the error scaled with it. By year 3, the pricing wasn't just low, it was load-bearing. Clients had built their own budgets around it. Referrals came in, priced against it. The number had become the market's expectation, not because the market had set it, but because he had. When he finally raised the price, the system he'd built pushed back simultaneously. New clients hesitated, existing clients anchored to the old rate as if it were a contract. The referral network, the thing that had built the business, was now the thing holding the price in place. Everyone who'd recommended him had done so at a number he no longer charged. There was no clean reset, no single conversation. It wasn't one conversation to fix. It was all of them at once. He didn't scale a business. He scaled the error. Here's the version I see most often inside institutions. This is where it locks. Most professionals assume that if the case is strong enough, the institution will move. That assumption is expensive. 12 years, same institution, strong record, consistent delivery. They agreed he was underpaid and didn't change it. The band had been set 18 months earlier. By the time he asked, The decision had already been made. He hadn't forced them to. Every cycle, he accepted the incremental. Every review, he took what was offered and stayed. Because pushing back meant risking the position he'd already secured. The system didn't impose that. He confirmed it. They didn't move. Budgets were already set, bands already allocated. Correcting him meant disturbing a plan that had been built around his number. And that disruption cost more than simply conceding the argument. So they conceded the argument and deferred the correction because he was late. And before you tell yourself your situation is different, it isn't. The pattern runs the same way. And lateness compounds faster than effort corrects. 3 years behind. The correction, when it came, wasn't a correction. It was a recovery, partial, delayed, still behind. Compensation is recoverable slowly. Optionality isn't. None of them thought they were making the expensive choice. They thought they were making the sensible one. This is the part that actually fixes it. Every decision sets a level. The system adjusts around it, then it locks. The market doesn't negotiate with signals, it records them. I kept finding reasons that made sense at the time. What I was doing was converting one uncomfortable conversation into a permanent lower position. I knew what the market was paying. I didn't raise it. Each time, there was a reason not to do it now. The engagement was going well. The relationship had goodwill I didn't want to spend. The timing wasn't clean. Maybe next quarter. 3 years. The differential between what I was billing and what the work was worth sat in a column, and it didn't change. The work matched the rate, and so did the clients. The next level never appeared. In judo, the throw fails before it starts. The entry, sukuri, is where it's won or lost. Miss the entry, and there's nothing to execute. The technique doesn't fail in the moment. It failed earlier, when the position wasn't taken. The cost was set before the conversation began. Most people think that the problem is the decision. It isn't. It's the repetition. And small misalignments compound. And that's not a metaphor. It's arithmetic. At year 1, you're mispriced. At year 3, you're established as mispriced. By year 5, it's fixed and expensive to undo. By year 7, the number is your identity. And by year 10, the market has moved and you haven't. You get paid what you've repeatedly accepted.